Here's how each contender can win the NBA championship. Let's start with the Lakers. First, LeBron James and Luka have to dominate together. LeBron's averaging 24.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.7 assists per game. Luka, known for his triple-double potential, brings his elite playmaking with 9.8 assists a game. The Lakers need to boost their scoring. Right now, they're 15th in points per game with 113.1. They also need to improve their three-point shooting, ranked 24th with 12.4 threes per game, to space the floor and open lanes for LeBron and Luka to attack. LeBron's 74% clutch field goal percentage in the playoffs is huge, and Luka's ability to exploit mismatches with his passing must shine when it matters most. Second, they need to fix their defensive holes after trading Anthony Davis. With Davis gone, the Lakers struggle with rim protection and rebounding. Opponents are shooting 46.5% against them, ranking 12th worst in field goal percentage allowed. They also allow 112.2 points per game, which ranks 11th. They're 11th in total rebounds, with 44.3 per game, but they'll need to improve team rebounding to handle bigs like Nikola Jokic in the postseason. Third, surviving the Western Conference gauntlet is crucial. The Lakers are currently 4th in the West with a record of 44-29, so they'll need to avoid the play-in tournament to keep fresh for a playoff run. Coach JJ will need to fine-tune their system to maximize the pick-and-roll chemistry between Luka and LeBron. Role players like Austin Reeves, who's averaging 19.2 points per game, will need to step up in the postseason too. Fourth, the Lakers' three-point shooting is a glaring weakness. At 35.7%, they're 24th in the league in three-point percentage, which could be a problem against sharpshooting teams like Boston or Oklahoma City. Role players like Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Taurean Prince need to hit their open shots at a 38% or better clip to make defenses pay for collapsing on LeBron and Luka. On the flip side, the Lakers also need to shore up their defensive closeouts, as opponents are shooting 36.3% from three against them, ranking 18th worst in that department. Fifth, health and depth are key. LeBron, now age 40, is averaging 32.5 minutes per game, and his minutes need to be managed to stay fresh. The Lakers bench is ranked 20th in scoring. Finally, the Lakers' championship pedigree is undeniable. With 17 titles, they've proven they thrive under pressure. After the Luka trade, their title odds jumped to plus 900, signaling a belief in their potential. For the Lakers to secure their 18th championship, they'll need LeBron and Luka to average more than 55 points per game combined and 15 assists per game in the playoff. Their defense needs to crack the top 10, and they need role players to hit at least 38% from three. If all these pieces come together, the Lakers can make a serious push for the title. Now the Warriors can win the championship, but there are key areas they must focus on. First, they have to maintain elite offensive efficiency. They're currently 3rd in points per game, averaging 113 points, but their field goal percentage is a bit lacking, sitting at 26th with 44.9%. They rely heavily on the three-point shot, but it's been average at best, ranked 16th at 36%. To fix this, Steph Curry's dominance is a must. He's been averaging 24.1 points per game on 39.2% shooting from beyond the arc. His net rating is plus 12.3, showing just how important he is, especially when the game's on the line. Jimmy Butler's integration is another key factor. Since joining, Butler's averaged 17.3 points and 6.2 assists, but his three-point shooting percentage is only 21.2%, and that needs improvement. The Warriors need him to either hit shots from deep or drive to the basket more. And don't forget about bench scoring. They're currently ranked 22nd in bench points per game, so players like Brandon Podziemski and JK have to step up. On the defensive side, there are some clear weaknesses to address. The Warriors allow 110.7 points per game, ranking 18th, and their rim protection is poor, sitting at 22nd in blocks. Draymond Green is the heart of their defense, averaging 1.5 steals and 1.1 blocks per game. But the team's defensive rating of 111.9 needs improvement. Perimeter defense has also been an issue, with opponents shooting 36.3% from three, ranking them 13th worst. Rebounding has been another area of concern. The Warriors are 4th in offensive rebounds with 12.6 per game, but they're only 16th in defensive rebounds. Looney, who's averaging 6.2 rebounds per game, has to be more dominant on the glass. In the Western Conference, the Warriors have a tough road ahead. They're currently 7th in the West with a 42-31 record. They need to improve their positioning to avoid the play-in tournament and secure a more favorable playoff spot. Their core players, Curry, Green, and Klay Thompson, have combined for 6 finals appearances and 4 titles. Butler's finals experience from 2020 in 2023 also adds valuable leadership to the mix. Curry has played 61 games, but Butler's only appeared in 21. Depth will play a huge role, with players like Moses Moody, who's averaging 9.9 points per game, needing to contribute. Flexibility in their lineup is another factor. The Warriors have been effective with small ball lineups, especially when Draymond Green plays at center, which has produced a net rating of plus 5.2. Their pace is only ranked 26th, so they need to push the tempo and play faster when possible. In clutch moments, the Warriors need Curry, Butler, and Green to excel. Their current clutch net rating of plus 2.2 ranks 11, and that must improve when the game is on the line. Lastly, the Warriors have the championship pedigree that not many teams can match. They're 6-4 in finals appearances, with titles in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022. Draymond Green's confidence in claiming the team is 100% winning the title. Should give them the belief they need, but they need to focus on executing that mentality on the court, especially when it matters most. For the Warriors to win the championship, they need elite performances from Curry, Butler's two-way impact, top 10 defense, good health, and solid bench production. If these pieces align, the Warriors could very well add their 7th title to the legacy. But then we'll talk about the Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder have had a historic regular season, and they're in a prime position to win the NBA championship. Their net rating is the best in the league, with the top-ranked defense allowing only 106.9 points per game and the 4th-ranked offense, averaging 119.9 points. To make this championship dream a reality, they must build on this success. First, SGA's MVP level play has been vital. He's leading the league with 32.8 points per game and is shooting 50% from the field and 37.3% from 3. His on-off net rating of plus 14.7 has been crucial, and this level of play must continue into the playoffs. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren also need to step up as secondary scoring options. Williams is averaging 21.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.3 assists, while Holmgren is putting up 18.9 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks. The Thunder also need to increase their three-point attempts. They're currently ranked 6th in three-point percentage at 37.3%, but they only rank 7th in attempts with 14.4 per game. Luguentz Dort and Isaiah Joe must get more looks from beyond the arc, as both players shoot efficiently from deep. Despite their regular season dominance, the Thunder lack playoff experience with their core, except for SGA having no conference finals appearances. This inexperience will be tested in the playoffs. Late game execution is key, and although the Thunder rank 3rd in clutch win percentage at 68.4%, playoff pressure is a different beast. SGA's 29.5 points per game in the 2024 playoffs is a great start, but he'll need to continue performing at that level to make a deep run. The Thunder also boast the lowest opponent field goal percentage at 44.1%, but facing elite offenses like the Nuggets and Lakers will be a real test for their defense. Holmgren's rim protection and Dort's perimeter defense will play a huge role. Rebounding is another area they'll need to improve, as they rank 11th in total rebounds with 44.3 per game. They'll need to step up on the glass, especially against teams like the Cavaliers, who rank 1st in rebounding. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Western Conference is stacked, and the Thunder will likely face some tough teams along the way. In the first round, they could face a play-in winner like the Warriors or Lakers. In the 2024 postseason, they dominated the Pelicans, sweeping them 4-0, but they were eliminated by the Mavericks in the second round, losing 4-2. If they face the Nuggets, they'll have to deal with Nikola Jokic's playoff pedigree, as he averaged 27.1 points and 12.5 rebounds in the 2024 playoff. If they face the Lakers, LeBron James and Luka's offensive firepower will require the Thunder to switch up their defensive schemes. Having home court advantage will be key, and the Thunder have been dominant at home, with a 34-4 record at Paycom Center. They must protect their home court in the later rounds. One area the Thunder need to address is bench and rotation depth. They rank 18th in bench points per game at 34.2, so reserves like Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace need to step up and provide consistent shooting. Health will also be a factor, as Holmgren's durability is crucial. He's played 72 games, but the team doesn't have a backup center averaging more than 15 minutes per game. Coach Mark Daigneault, who's a Coach of the Year favorite, needs to adjust rotations quickly, especially after struggles in the 2024 playoffs. If the Thunder can maintain SGA's MVP form, get strong contributions from Williams and Holmgren, improve their playoff defense, get solid bench production, and have Daigneault outcoach the competition, they could very well win their first NBA title since relocating in 2008. But what about the Cavs? The Cleveland Cavaliers need to harness their early season dominance while addressing the challenges that come with playoff basketball. They started the season strong, racking up a 15-game winning streak and matching it later, becoming just the 6th team in NBA history with multiple 15-plus win streaks in one season. However, recent struggles, with 5 losses in their last 10 games, have exposed some vulnerabilities. Their offense, which was ranked first, has slipped to 12th in offensive rating. Defense has also taken a hit, falling from top 10 to 19th in defensive rating. Their three-point shooting, which has been a strength at 38.4%, needs to stay strong against playoff-level defenses. To get back to their early season form, they'll need Donovan Mitchell, who's averaging 24 points per game on 39.5% shooting from 3, to step up, along with Darius Garland, who's shown he can go off with 30-point performances in clutch moments. One challenge the Cavs face is their lack of playoff experience. Despite their impressive 59-15 record, their core hasn't made deep playoff runs. Mitchell has averaged 28.1 points per game in 63 career playoff games, but has never reached the finals. Evan Mobley and Garland are still relatively untested in the postseason compared to veterans like Boston's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. To make a serious run, they'll need to rely on trade acquisition DeAndre Hunter, who can help defensively against Tatum, and Jarrett Allen's rim protection to neutralize Boston's elite wings. Boston is the primary obstacle standing between the Cavaliers and a championship. The Celtics are heavy favorites in the East, with the Cavs sitting at plus 240 to win the conference. During the regular season, Boston won 2 of their 3 matchups, but the Cavs have improved since acquiring Hunter. Cleveland leads the NBA in three-point percentage at 38.4%, but Boston's volume is dangerous as they attempt 16.2 three-pointers per game. The Cavs' clutch execution has been solid, ranking 3rd in clutch win percentage at 68.4%, but the Celtics' playoff experience gives them an edge. Cleveland needs to force Boston into mid-range shots. The Cavs allow only 44.1% shooting from opponents, ranking 10th in the league in field goal defense, and they'll need to exploit Boston's lack of rim protection. Recent losses to subpar teams have raised concerns about the Cavs' focus, especially heading into the playoffs. They'll have a tough final stretch of the season, with 8 of their last 12 games against playoff teams, including the Celtics and Knicks. Health is another concern, as Mitchell has missed 12 games. Allen and Mobley must stay healthy to handle the physicality of the postseason. With a 4.5-game lead in the East, the Cavs should rest their starters selectively and ramp up bench production. Currently, their bench ranks 18th in bench points per game, so players like Isaac Okoro need to step up. If they can navigate the Eastern Conference, the Cavs will likely face teams like OKC or Denver in the finals. They split their regular season series with OKC, who have the top-ranked defense, but Mitchell's playoff experience can offset SGA's MVP caliber season. The Cavs will also need to contain rebounding threats like Chet Holmgren and Nikola Jokic, as they currently rank 11th in total rebounds. Cleveland's fast break points are ranked 4th in the league, and they'll need to push the pace against teams like OKC that lack playoff experience. To win it all, the Cavs need Mitchell to average 30 points per game in the playoffs, shoot at least 38% from 3 as a team, and hold opponents under 110 points per game. If these factors align, Cleveland could secure its first NBA title since the team relocated. With a plus 500 title odds, they offer significant value if they peak in April. But then there's the Celtics. To win the 2025 NBA championship, the Boston Celtics need to rely on their elite two-way dominance, championship pedigree, and strategic adjustments. They currently boast the second-best net rating in the league with the top-ranked defense, allowing just 107.1 points per game and a 4th-ranked offense, scoring an average of 116.9 points per game. Jason Tatum's MVP level play has been central to their success, averaging 26.8 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game. He needs to keep up his true shooting percentage of 62.1% in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown, who's putting up 23.4 points per game on 49.8% shooting, also plays a vital role in providing secondary scoring and elite perimeter defense, averaging 1.1 steals per game. The Celtics lead the NBA in three-point attempts per game with 18 and shoot 38.7% from deep. Players like Derek White, who's shooting 40% from three, must continue to hit shots to stretch opposing defenses. The Celtics will face their toughest challenges from teams like OKC and Cleveland, who are rising contenders with young, talented rosters. In their regular season matchups, they lost the series to OKC 1-2, including a close one, 18-112 road loss, where SGA dropped 34 points. They'll need to counter OKC's top-ranked defense with fast-paced ball movement and shooting. Against Cleveland, they're trailing by 4.5 games in the East and are 1-3 against them this season. Cleveland has Donovan Mitchell, who averaged 30.2 points per game in the 2024 playoffs, and the Celtics need to lock down on him defensively. Kristaps Porzingis' rim protection, which averages 5.6 blocks per game, and Al Horford's spacing are essential to neutralizing Cleveland's big men, Chet Holmgren and Evan Mobley. The Celtics also have an edge in playoff experience, with their core players combining for 63 playoff series wins, including last year's title run. They're first in clutch win percentage at 72.3%, with Tatum and Brown contributing 10.4 points in clutch time. Their bench, with players like Peyton Pritchard, who's averaging 8.4 points per game on 39% shooting from three, and Sam Hauser, will need to outplay younger benches like OKC's, which is ranked 18th in bench points per game. Coaching will be key, as Joe Mazzulla must make the right adjustments in the postseason, like he did in last year's finals. The road to the finals won't be easy, as the East features 350-win teams, including Cleveland and New York. In the first round, the Celtics will likely face a play-in winner like Miami or Indiana. They swept Miami in the 2024 Eastern Conference Finals, but lost to Indiana this season. If they make it to the conference finals, they'll likely face the Cavaliers or the Knicks. Boston's 7-2 record against the top four teams in the East is reassuring, and they'll need to protect their home court. They're currently the second seed with a 32-5 record at TD Garden, which will be crucial in the later rounds. Defensively, the Celtics allow the third lowest three-point percentage at 34.1% and force 14.7 turnovers per game, which is ranked 6th in the league. They need to maintain this level of defensive intensity, especially against high-volume shooters like Cleveland's Mitchell and OKC's SGA. Health will be a factor, as Porzingis has missed 22 games and they'll need his rim protection in the playoffs. Luke Kornet's rim protection, which averages 1.2 blocks per game, will also need to step up. To win the championship, the Celtics need Tatum and Brown to combine for 50-plus points per game in the playoffs, shoot at least 38% from three, and hold opponents under 105 points per game. They'll need to steal one of the first two road games in a potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup against Cleveland and get over 25 points per game from their bench, with odds of plus 220 to win the title. Boston is in a strong position to make another deep playoff run and potentially secure back-to-back championships. But what about Denver? The Denver Nuggets need to maximize their elite core, tactical adjustments, and playoff experience. Nikola Jokic is the centerpiece of their title hopes, having another MVP caliber season. He's averaging 29.3 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 10.2 assists, while shooting 57.4% from the field and 41.2% from three. Jokic's on-off impact is huge, with the Nuggets being plus 12.7 per 100 possessions with him on the floor compared to minus 7.3 without him. His historic Finals MVP performance, where he averaged 30.2 points, 14 rebounds, and 7.2 assists, needs to be replicated. The Nuggets offense, which ranks third in the league with an average of 120.9 points per game, relies heavily on Jokic's playmaking. However, their defense, ranked 24th in the league, allows 116.7 points per game, and they need to tighten rotations to improve defensively in the postseason. One of Denver's biggest challenges is their three-point shooting paradox. While they're ranked fourth in three-point shooting percentage at 38.1%, they rank fourth worst in three-pointers made per game, with just 12.1 attempts. This imbalance is risky in the playoffs, especially when facing teams like OKC, who have the league's top defense. The Nuggets will need role players like Michael Porter Jr., who's shooting 39.7% from three, to step up and shoot more confidently. Jokic's passing ability creates open look, but the departure of Caldwell Pope leaves a void in their shooting. To mitigate this, they need to increase off-ball movement and generate more corner three-pointers, as they currently rank last in the league in three-point rate. The Western Conference is a brutal gauntlet, and the Nuggets will likely face tough matchups. Against Oklahoma City, they lost the regular season series 1-2, including a close 124-122 loss, where SGA dropped 40 points. Denver must counter OKC's top-ranked defense with pace and ball movement. The Los Angeles Lakers are another potential threat, with the LeBron James-Luka duo posing a pick-and-roll nightmare. The Nuggets swept the Lakers in the 23 Western Conference Finals, but lost a game 120-108 in March without Jokic and Jamal Murray. Denver's home court advantage is key, as they're currently the third seed with a 32-5 home record, but they must avoid any play-in volatility. Depth and health concerns are another area the Nuggets need to address. Their bench ranks 20th in bench points per game at 34.2, so players like Peyton Watson and Christian Brown need to step up. Murray's playoff reliability, with 25 or more points per game in the 2023 playoffs, is also critical. Additionally, losing Caldwell Pope, an elite perimeter defender, means that Aaron Gordon's versatility, with 1.2 steals and 0.8 blocks per game, will be even more important. Denver failed to add a backup center or shooter at the trade deadline, leaving their rotation thin. Historically, the Nuggets have struggled in Game 7s, holding a 1-4 record since 2019, including last year's collapse against Minnesota. However, Jokic's legacy could be solidified with a second title, cementing him as a top 10 all-time player. Head coach Michael Malone will need to continue making the right adjustments, as he did in the 23 finals, to outwit coaches like Mark Daigneault of OKC and Joe Mazzulla of Boston. To win the championship, the Nuggets need Jokic to maintain his dominant play, Murray to stay healthy and elevate his scoring, and their defense to improve to a top 15 level by limiting transition three-pointers. They also need their bench to contribute at least 30 points per game and to steal a road game in OKC or Boston to neutralize any home court disadvantage. With odds of plus 1,400 to win the title, the Nuggets have a challenging path ahead, but with Jokic leading the way, they could defy the odds once again. But then there's the Knicks. The New York Knicks will need to overcome significant hurdles, including defensive inconsistencies, playoff inexperience, and tough matchups in the Eastern Conference. They currently boast the second best offense in the league, a result of key offseason acquisitions like Karl Anthony Towns and Bridges. Jalen Brunson has been leading the charge, averaging 24 points per game and 6.8 assists. His clutch performances, with a true shooting percentage of 62.1% in crunch time, must carry over into the playoffs. Towns' three-point shooting at 39.7% has opened up driving lanes, but his defensive limitations, with a career average of just 0.9 blocks per game, could be a concern in playoff matchups. The Knicks also shoot 38.1% from three, which ranks fourth in the league. Role players like OG must keep this efficiency high. To truly stretch defenses, they need to increase their three-point volume and punish defenses collapsing on Brunson and Towns. The Knicks' defense, however, remains a weak point. Their defensive efficiency ranks 18th, allowing 113.9 points per game. One glaring issue is rim protection. With Towns at center, opponents shoot 56.8% in the paint, which is ranked as the 20th worst in the league. Mitchell Robinson's return, with his 1.8 blocks per game in 2024, should help shore up the defense. Perimeter defense is another concern. Bridges and OG need to lock down elite wings, especially in matchups with players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The Knicks are currently 0-3 against Boston this season, with all losses by 13 or more points. The Knicks must also improve their rebounding, as they rank third in offensive rebounds at 12.6 per game, but need to limit second chance points defensively. The Knicks are currently the third seed, but their path to a championship will not be easy. In the first round, they'll likely face Milwaukee, a team they split the season series with 2 games apiece. In the second round, they are projected to face Boston, a team they've struggled against, including a 27-point loss earlier this season. A potential conference finals matchup with Cleveland is also daunting, as they were routed by 37 points in March. Historically, the Knicks haven't made it to the conference finals since the year 2000, and their struggles against elite teams have contributed to their odds dropping from plus 700 at the start of the season to plus 3,000. Depth and fatigue are also significant concerns for New York. Their bench ranks 20th in bench points per game at 34.2, and players like Josh Hart, who's averaging 9.8 points and 8.1 rebounds, are critical to their success. However, Cam Payne, averaging 8.3 points per game, will need to step up. Minutes load is another issue, with Brunson playing 36.2 minutes per game, Bridges at 38.1, and Towns at 34.5. Coach Tom Thibodeau's tendency to run short rotations in the playoffs could risk player burnout. Health is a major factor, with Brunson's recent ankle injury causing him to miss 12 games. To win the championship, the Knicks need Brunson and Towns to combine for over 50 points per game in the playoffs, while maintaining elite efficiency. Their defense must improve to a top 10 level by limiting opponent three-point shooting to under 35% and restricting paint scoring. They'll need to steal a road game against Boston or Cleveland to neutralize home court advantage. The bench must contribute at least 25 points per game. And most importantly, Brunson and Robinson need to stay healthy for a deep playoff run. With odds of plus 3,000, the Knicks face long odds. But if everything clicks, they could defy history and secure their first championship since 1973. But then we'll talk about the Rockets. The Houston Rockets need to capitalize on their offensive firepower and defensive improvements while overcoming significant challenges in the loaded Western Conference. The Rockets rank 6th in points per game, averaging 118.4, but they rely heavily on isolation scoring, ranking 27th in assists. Jalen Green, who is averaging 25.8 points per game on 45.2% shooting, is having a breakout season. He's shown major improvement post-All-Star break, averaging 28.4 points per game, and must continue to improve his playmaking, as he's currently averaging just 3.9 assists per game. Alperen Sengun, with his 20.1 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 5.1 assists, anchors the offense. However, his three-point shooting at just 29.6% limits spacing, and he'll need to either improve his shooting or dominate in the post. The Rockets shoot 38.5% from three, ranking 3rd in the league, but they rank 18th in attempts. Role players like Dillon Brooks, who's shooting 36.1% from three, must shoot more confidently. To fully capitalize on their offensive potential, the Rockets must increase ball movement, as they're currently averaging just 22.8 assists per game, ranked 25th in the league. Defensively, the Rockets have made strides, ranking 9th in defensive efficiency, allowing 110.2 points per game. One of their primary weaknesses is rim protection. Sengun's 1.2 blocks per game aren't enough, so rookie Amen Thompson's switchability with 1.4 steals per game is a key asset. Jabari Smith Jr., with his 0.9 blocks per game, will also need to provide more rim protection. Perimeter defense has been a strength, with the Rockets allowing just 35.1% shooting from three, which ranks 8th in the league. Brooks and Tari Eason need to be able to guard elite wings, especially in matchups against players like Kevin Durant and Luka. The Rockets also rank 5th in total rebounds with 45.8 per game. They must maintain this effort on the glass, especially when facing elite bigs like Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis. The Rockets are currently the 4th seed in the Western Conference with a 48-26 record, but their path to the finals won't be easy. In the first round, they'll likely face either the Pelicans or Suns. They split their season series with New Orleans, 2-2, but lost 3-1 to Phoenix. In the second round, they are projected to face the Thunder, whom they have a 1-2 record against, including a 23-point loss, where SGA dropped 40 points. Health will be a significant factor, as Fred VanVleet, who missed 14 games, and Sengun, who's been dealing with injury concerns, must remain available for a deep playoff run. Despite these challenges, the Rockets are 21-9 against teams with a 500 record or better, proving they can compete with the league's elite. Depth will also be crucial for the Rockets, as their bench ranks 12th in bench points per game with 38.4. Players like Cam Whitmore, who's averaging 12.1 points per game, and veteran Jeff Green will be key contributors off the bench. The Rockets' clutch execution will need improvement, as they rank 10th in clutch win percentage at 61.3%. Green's decision-making late in games, with 3.1 turnovers per game, needs to be more reliable. Ime Udoka's coaching experience, including leading Boston to the finals, will be vital in guiding the team through high-pressure situations and outsmarting younger teams like OKC and Minnesota. If the Rockets can maintain efficient scoring from Green and Sengun, improve their defense to a top 5 level by limiting opponent three-point shooting and paint points, and get solid contributions from their bench, they could potentially win their first title since 1995. With odds of plus 1,800 to win the title, they are still underdogs. But if everything aligns, they could make a deep run in the playoffs. The Rockets are one of only 3 teams, along with the Billups Pistons and Dirk Mavericks, to win a title from the 4th seed since the year 2000. Can they defy history and add another championship to their legacy. But what about Memphis? The Memphis Grizzlies need to stabilize after recent coaching turmoil, address defensive weaknesses, and navigate a brutal Western Conference. After firing head coach Taylor Jenkins on March 28th, despite a 44-29 record, the Grizzlies will need a strong adjustment from their interim coach. One of the key areas to address is the team's recent offensive struggles. Memphis has dropped to 20th in field goal percentage and 18th in three-point percentage over their last 10 games. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's averaging 22.4 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks, must continue to be the anchor on both ends of the floor, particularly since Memphis' offense currently ranks 13th, averaging 122.1 points per game. Memphis' defense has also been a significant concern. They rank 25th in points allowed, giving up 116.9 points per game. One of the primary issues is paint protection, as opponents are shooting 56.8% in the paint, the 20th worst in the league. Jackson's rim protection at 1.6 blocks per game needs support from Steven Adams, especially since Adams could return soon. On the perimeter, Memphis ranks 10th in three-point percentage, allowed at 36.8%. But Desmond Bane, who's averaging 1.2 steals per game, will need to step up and defend elite guards like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Memphis also ranks 5th in total rebounds at 45.8 per game, but they must do a better job limiting second chance points, particularly when facing elite rebounding teams. The Western Conference is packed with tough competition, and Memphis is currently the 5th seed, meaning their first round matchup is likely against the 4th seeded Los Angeles Lakers. The teams split their season series 2-2, but Memphis lost by 21 points in March without key players. The Grizzlies also lost to the Thunder 125-104 after the All-Star break. While Memphis has a solid home court record of 24-12, they trail OKC and Denver, who have better home records, so stealing a road game will be critical. Offensively, Memphis has the potential to be elite, but has shown inconsistency. They're ranked 10th in three-point percentage at 36.8%, but they're also 10th in attempts, averaging 13.8 per game. Desmond Bane, who's averaging 18.7 points per game and shooting 36.1% from three, will need to shoot more consistently. With Ja Morant's absence, Bane's playmaking, which is currently at 5.5 assists per game, must also rise to fill the gap. The Grizzlies' bench is another concern as they rank 20th in bench points per game with 34.2. The Grizzlies face long odds, with title odds ranging from plus 8,000 to plus 13,000, reflecting skepticism around their chances. They've only won one playoff series since 2016 in the 22 semifinals and have no finals appearances in franchise history. To make a deep run, the Grizzlies need Jackson and Bane to combine for 45 or more points per game, shooting efficiently, with Jackson shooting over 50% from the field and Bane shooting over 38% from three. The defense needs to crack the top 15 by limiting opponent three-point shooting to less than 35% and keeping paint points under 45%. They'll also need to steal a road game against the Lakers or Thunder to offset their home court disadvantage. The bench must contribute at least 30 points per game, and health will be a fact, with Morant's potential return or any trade deadline upgrades playing a key role. If everything aligns, the Grizzlies could make a Cinderella run, but their odds suggest a second-round exit is more likely. Only two teams, seeded 5th, have won the title since '84, the Hakeem Rockets and the Jokic Nuggets. Can the Grizzlies defy history and make their first ever championship run? But lastly, Detroit. The Detroit Pistons would need to defy astronomical odds, currently set at plus 30,000, and overcome significant hurdles such as playoff inexperience, defensive inconsistencies, and a stacked Eastern Conference. The team's resurgence largely depends on the breakout season of Cade Cunningham, who is averaging 25.6 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 9.3 assists, ranking 3rd in assists behind Nikola Jokic and Trae Young. For the Pistons to make a run, Cunningham must maintain his efficiency with 45.2% shooting from the field and 36.1% from three, while also reducing his turnovers, which are currently at 3.9 per game. His performance in clutch moments will be crucial, as Detroit's offense, ranked 11th in the league with 115.7 points per game, relies heavily on Cunningham's late-game execution. His on-off net rating of plus 8.2 must improve in the postseason to push the Pistons further. Cunningham will be supported by a strong cast, including Jalen Duren, whose rim dominance has been key to Detroit's offense. Duren is averaging 10.2 rebounds per game and shooting an impressive 69.8% from the field, ranking second in the league. He needs to continue to anchor the paint, but his team also needs to improve its three-point shooting. While the Pistons are ranked 14th in three-point percentage at 36.4%, they rank 20th in three-point attempts. So players like Malik Beasley, who shoots 38.1% from beyond the arc, must increase their attempts to provide more spacing for Cunningham and Duren. Defensively, the Pistons have significant room for improvement, currently ranked 14th in defensive efficiency, allowing 113 points per game. They struggle against elite offenses, especially with perimeter defense. Opponents are shooting 36.8% from three, ranking as the 10th worst defense against the three-point shot. Thompson, who's averaging 1.4 steals per game, must be relied on to lock down elite wings like SGA and Steph Curry. In the paint, Duren's 1.1 blocks per game are not enough, so Isaiah Stewart's versatility as a switchable defender will be critical against stretch bigs. Transition defense is also an issue, as Detroit allows 14.2 fast break points per game, ranked 18th worst in the league. To compete in the postseason, they must adopt more aggressive switching schemes to counter pick-and-roll offenses. The Pistons are currently the 5th or 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, but their playoff path will be difficult. In the first round, they will likely face the New York Knicks, whom they hold a 2-1 record against this season, or the Pacers, with whom they split their season series. A series against the Cavaliers in the second round is projected, and Detroit has yet to win a game against Cleveland this season. Cunningham will need to score 30 or more points per game to offset Donovan Mitchell's scoring in this matchup. The Pistons also face significant playoff inexperience, as only Tobias Harris has substantial postseason experience, having played in 32 playoff games. Cunningham, Duren, and Thompson are postseason rookies, so coaching adjustments by J.B. Bickerstaff, who has overseen a culture shift in Detroit, will need to be sharp. The Pistons bench, ranked 20th in bench points per game at 34.2, will also need to step up, with Tim Hardaway Jr. contributing more scoring bursts to support the starters. Given their long odds at plus 30,000, the Pistons' path to a title is extremely unlikely. However, if everything aligns, they could pull off a Cinderella run similar to the COVID Hawks, though they lack a playoff-tested supporting cast like Trae Young's. The Pistons' championship formula would involve Cunningham averaging 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists per game in the playoffs, shooting efficiently with less than 3 turnovers per game. Defensively, they must crack the top 10 by limiting opponent three-point shooting to less than 35% and fast break points to under 12 per game. The bench must contribute at least 30 points per game, and Cunningham and Duren must play 40 or more minutes per game in the playoffs. Realistically, even with perfect execution, the Pistons' chances remain less than 1%, and a second-round exit would be considered a monumental success. Only 2 teams with preseason odds as high as plus 30,000 have ever won the title. If the Pistons somehow manage to defy these odds, it would be the NBA's greatest upset in history. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.